Hello, everybody out there in Facebook land, TikTok world, YouTube, everywhere. This is going to be going live. Probably some snippets on Instagram as well. My name is Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions, The Art of Monty Anderson. Welcome to the show. Had a little technical difficulties, or we would have already been online already. Some computer stuff didn't want to work right. But that's how it goes some days. Some days, it's not Monday or anything like that, but your computer technology seems to think that it is Monday and it wants to do its own damn thing. So, we're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff today when it comes to, just life in general. We're going to be talking comics, we're going to be talking artwork, we're going to be talking all kinds of cool stuff, but we're going to start out with the hard stuff first. Um, I run a homestead here on my property. I live in the country-esque setting, and we had some Nigerian dwarf goats, and they left us yesterday. They went to a new home. It was a bittersweet day for getting rid of the goats, and the girlfriend cried, which is to be expected because they become part of our lives, and we thought we were going to be doing a lot more stuff with the goats than we did because we were hoping to get, a good milk production out of Flora, the female goat. And she just didn't produce enough milk to do the stuff that we wanted to do, lotions and soaps and cheese and things of that nature. So we decided, hard decision to make because they're part of the family. But, we ended up getting rid of the goats yesterday. So now we're just down to our pig, the dogs, the cats, and then all of the chickens and the ducks. So that's our homestead as of now. And thanks for the likes. I appreciate you out there for the likes. And so we ended up getting rid of the goats. And the minute she went out there to as we were feeding the ducks or feeding the chickens and the ducks and stuff like that, she was just like, "It's so quiet." And she didn't realize the impact it was going to have not seeing them out there, on a regular basis now. And we might try it again, but we might just try the dwarfs next time instead of the pygmies. They were great goats for the most part until Flora had her kids, had the two babies, and then jealousy kicked in. Thank you for the likes. And jealousy kicked in with Finn, the male goat, the daddy, and he just became a dick after that. And and he was just ramming you and trying to gore you with his horns and things of that nature. So it was time for them to go. They anytime we would go out of town now, had he still been here, we wouldn't have been able to get anybody to come over here and even house sit to even try and feed the chickens and ducks and things like that and feed the goats because he would most likely try to get at you. So and that's not cool. So we put safety into effect with all this, and we put you know life and limb in it as well because he pissed me off the other day to the point where we almost had goat for dinner. Let's put it that way. And so that's the bittersweet, heartbreaking part of your homestead is whenever animals aren't a good fit for you anymore and you have to get rid of them even though they've been part of your family. Like Flora and Finn have been part of the family for a little over a year. Now the kids have only been a part of the family for since January 27th, but they are now at a new home. They're going to have about 16 acres of home, and once this family gets their fence all the way around their property, so it's much more property for them to roam around in and headbutt trees and try to you know take trees out of the ground because that's what he loved to do. was break any stick that was standing, or try to anyway. So, no, they were fun. They were good. They were pretty awesome. But it was time for them to go, and it's just a sad part of homesteading. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate you. And so you just move on. Yeah, there's going to be that void because you don't get to hear their little bang voices out there. And as you open the door and they're wanting food on a regular basis. And so that's the sad part about it, is that you do have to realize your limits when it comes to certain animals on your farm. And we realized ours. I mean, like I said, they were great up until the point where she had the children, where she had the kids, and then we had to separate them so that the kids wouldn't get hurt by dad. And after that point, he just became mean, and for the most part, and so we had to do what was best for us and for other people that would potentially be out here on the property, and um, helping take care of the animals if we were on vacation or at a comic book convention or things of that nature. So we did what was best for everybody, us included, and safety of friends and family that come over to help take care of the animals. So, but yeah, there you have that. Now, let's talk about late shipping. Seriously, late shipping. So I ordered something, in like January, and in hopes that it would be here by Valentine's Day. Well, guess what just arrived yesterday? Yes, the Valentine's Day present arrived yesterday. I did order two of them just because I thought it was cool as well. But this is what I ordered for Valentine's Day right here. Mr. Art the Clown. But he did not arrive again until yesterday. And maybe it was the day before yesterday, but anyway, he arrived, way, way later than I was expecting. The blood splattered. I mean, he is very cool. He's not quite a bobblehead, but he is super cool, and does have a lot of super cool blood splatter all over him. Because we like Art the Clown. He's one of our favorites. But there you go. I'm gonna put him back in my window sill right there, so I can look at him and he can watch the show. So there you go. All right. And next, we're gonna move into some real life situations. So I rented a roll off dumpster for. If you've been following any of my stories on my page, and please do like, share, follow my page here. You guys up here too on Facebook and YouTube, and spread the word. Um, so I rented a roll off dumpster because unfortunately I inherited a backyard full of trash whenever I bought this house. And in doing so, and not realizing that the trash behind the fence belonged to me, I'm the one that had to deal with it, to get rid of it, take care of it, because the prior owners didn't take care of it. They compounded the problem by continuing to throw shit over the fence. And we just thought, hey, that's where our fence ends. That's OG&E's problem because that's their property back there. Not my problem, you know. And then the neighbor tells me, hey, you got extra footage back there because my property goes farther back. And I'm like, seriously? So I went looking for that marker, and sure enough, there it was. Found the property marker, and so I started pushing back that section. Well, in doing so, I inherited all the shit that was on the back side of the fence. And it's probably 30, 40 years worth of garbage that they've thrown over the fence, from carpet to uh, like 60 pounds of shingles, plastics, household stuff that should have been thrown in the trash and hauled off, stuff like that. Old paint cans, so some of them still had a little bit of paint in them, but most of them didn't. Those empty paint cans and things of that nature that can't go into the landfill because they're chemical. even though people throw all kinds of chemicals in the trash on a regular basis anyway. But, you know, don't get me started on that. So it has a 1 ton limit. 1 ton is 2,000 pounds for you non math people out there like myself. Um, 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. And so we get it, we fill it with all the stuff from back there. And yeah, there was a little bit of dirt in there because whenever you're scraping that top layer, you're getting some dirt. You're not getting a ton of dirt, but you're getting some dirt in there. Well, we compacted it all down so it wouldn't be mounding over like it was, even though they put the cover over the top of the trash bin and all that stuff. And so it's $325 to rent the dumpster. Okay, I'm thinking maybe $75, $150 extra for the weight because we knew it was probably go over that 2,000 pound limit. But I wasn't expecting a $300 extra bill on top of this because they said we went over by 3.66 tons, which is nearly 10,000 pounds inside of a 14-yard dumpster. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate that. Eric Estrada. And so now we've got a $600 bill to pay for this dumpster. And even some of my friends that do this for a living have roll off dumpsters. He's like, yeah, I'm calling BS on that because there's no freaking way that if it's just plastic, glass, um, some shingles, some carpet, stuff like that, there's no way it's 10,000 pounds. And, it's easy gone is the people that, is the company area. And, it's, they give me the weight of the hauler itself. Um, and then, because the rig is like 14,000 pounds alone with the dumpster on it, and then the total weight ended up to 12,004 tons minus the weight of the rig itself, which was 7.38, which leaves an average of 4.66, minus the 1 ton that um, we get with the dumpster itself, which leaves that 3.66 overage, which means an extra $275 bill on top of the $325 to rent the dumpster. And so I'm trying to get with the landfill to see if they can give me a receipt from that day. And I've got all the information if this is the correct receipt for it. Um, and that just seems excessive to me that it was 3.66 extra over. And even the guys that do it for a living was like, yeah, if his winch cable didn't break, then there was no way there was 10,000 pounds in that. Because even a 3 or 4 ton winch wouldn't have been able to pull that up without help, he said. He was like, you would have had to have a skid steer or a backhoe on the backside of that, helping push that up as you are loading it on that skid of that trailer. And so, I've got 6 days to pay the bill, but I'm trying to do all my research at the same time because it seems way excessive. I mean, way more than we were expecting, 100%. And so, that's my little dilemma with this right now is that we don't think it was that much, weight. We almost seem like they created this receipt or this was somebody else's receipt and not mine. So, but, it is what it is at this point in time. If I can't get a real receipt from the landfill company, then, or the landfill in Fort Smith, then I'm just up the creek without a paddle because I will have no proof otherwise. So, but again, it is what it is. The bill will get paid, but I'm hoping that I can find a receipt that shows an offsetting that doesn't show this, because all of us that I've talked to, including the Facebook people, they're like, yeah, there's no freaking way that you should that it should be that excessive of tonnage over the top of your 1 ton limit, especially 10,000 pounds. You know, as opposed to the 2,000 pounds. You know, right there. I was thinking 35 to 4,000 pounds tops. You know, 2 extra tons. But no, they say I'm nearly 4 times over the limit of that dumpster capacity. And I mean, he did struggle a little bit trying to get it up on his trailer, on his skid, but he didn't struggle that much. Hardly at all, really. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate you. And so we're just trying to figure it all out. We're just trying to make sure that it is correct and that we're not getting screwed, without the lube here. And which seems to happen a lot to people out there, not just me. I know people that have been hit with stuff like this as well, where they get royally screwed because you're not there to see the end results, and you're not there to see the final weight that they get, you know. And again, who's to say that this is my ticket? Because who's to say that there wasn't somebody else out there? But again, is what it is. And if I can get a receipt from the landfill, hopefully today, I might. I don't know, but we'll see. I mean, I'll probably end up calling them and saying, "Hey, can I get sent down to your landfill desk, please?" And because it is difficult to get the landfill on the line a lot of times. So, but it is what it is, like I said, and we will deal. Sorry. And here we are in April. You know, a lot of people pulled their April Fool's pranks yesterday. Um, Woke up to one that I thought could have been an April Fool's joke, but it was not. Val Kilmer passing away. And, you know, it's just another person that has passed away that has no effect on my life. But, I get it for some people, that cry over it and things of that nature. But, that's never been me with celebrities. And, that might sound heartless or whatever, but for me, yeah, they brought me entertainment. They brought me, you know, good drawing material and things like that. But they weren't directly affecting my life, meaning they weren't paying anything for me. They weren't sending me money. They weren't contacting me on the phone on a regular basis. Those type things. I've got one person that is kind of like that. We don't talk on a regular basis. I mean, we talk on a regular basis, but we're not like on the phone with each other and things like that. But it's Santiago Cirillo. He was in The Walking Dead as Julio of The Walking Dead, and um, great dude. Has a great awareness program. The His High on Nation. If you don't know, go check him out. You can go to Scared City Productions, or you can find him Santiago Cirillo with a C out there, just like this mental health awareness that I'm going to be doing some artwork for. See if I can show you this without it blitzing out. This is my. Come on. Come on. Wake up. Wake up. Oh, yeah, this is my chaos piece that's going to them. I'm going to do one for anger as well. But this is what happens in the mind of, people with, how can I say it, PTSD without getting flagged over here. Because you talk about certain things and keywords and you get restricted. Um, so I'm just waiting now that I've said that out loud. Hope you are doing well, man. Of course I'm doing well. I'm doing great. Um, Doing artwork on a regular basis, homesteading on a regular basis. And, you know, I uh, I can't complain because I'm home. You know, um, I'm doing things that people wish they were doing sometimes. You know, being at home, taking care of animals, um, working my own property, doing my own stuff, uh, setting my own terms. I'm my own boss, and I'm the only one that can fire me. But yeah, no, I'm doing great. I appreciate that, and I hope you're doing great out there too. And I'm trying to see if there's anybody else that said anything else so far, but it does not look like anybody else has said anything, which is fine. You know, that's what this show's about. It's about interacting with you guys out there. So if you have questions or anything like that, just throw them out, and hopefully I'll see them before they, because I'm looking at two different screens. I'm looking up here for YouTube and uh, Facebook, and then down here I've got my TikTok. I need to get them lined up where I've got a little. This is right up here, so I'm looking at you both at the same time. But um, so this awareness piece that I'm working on right now, this one is practically finished. I'm going to work on anger next, which is something I need to deal with my own self. I've got to seal the edge on this with the black edge because it makes it look cleaner. And but otherwise, this one is finished and ready for the auction for the awareness program. And I've got to put my sticker on the back that talks about how it's a 1-to-1 piece and go from there. But anger is up next after I seal this one, which will happen today. And then I've got some voice acting to get redone and taken care of so that they can get the filming underway. They're not waiting on me, but you know the filming is going to happen hopefully either this month or next month for the Power Ranger fan film. That is a series. So I am in this first script for this. I play Champ. I'm the voice actor for Champ, and uh, I'm looking forward to redoing that role because I've already recorded it once, but he changed some banter, if you will, in the original script that he had sent me. Apparently, it was the old script, and so he resent out the scripts, and I get to redo some voices, some lines of the script for my character that I am portraying the voice thereof. And so that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that. And then I've got that super secret comic book cover that I'm working on, which once I get Anger finished, I will be jumping right onto it. Um, and then I've got a huge 18 by 24 piece that a friend of mine has commissioned that I'll be working on with 3 different characters on the front and being surrounded by other villains in the crew. Um, but yeah, no, life is exciting. Life is fun. You got to take the heartache with the blessings, if you will. Just like this $600 bill that I've got to pay for um, this dumpster that I talked about a minute ago. If you weren't here for that, but if you don't mind, like, share, follow, and come up here, bum bum bum, and go to my profile links, which has my website on it. You can click on that. You will see the logo that's directly behind me, my 412 Productions Alien logo, the art of Monty Anderson. And from there, you will be able to see my links directly underneath there. That goes Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and you are already here on TikTok joining me live right now. So you can always jump up there and hit those and follow me at those locations as well. My recorded show goes on to Facebook and YouTube, and then some clippets go on Instagram from time to time. Not every time. Sometimes I go to my story, which the stories disappear over there after a point. But yeah, so life throws you curveballs. You make brisk lemonade out of those curveballs. You know, they need to be one of my sponsors. Hit me up, Brisk. Be a sponsor. I drink your stuff on my show a lot. Not every day. I'm also looking to offload quite a few of my comic books that I've got, especially stuff that I'm not a big fan of, like the Superman and the Captain Americas and things like that that I've got. So if you're interested in those, hit me up. I've got over 7,000 comics in my collection, and about 3,000 of those were uh, inherited to me by some friends of mine that had the roll off dumpster that apparently got thrown away in that dumpster. Um, and there were some goodies in there. I can't lie. The only real flaw, and it's not that big of a flaw, is that the person that owned them, put a little code on them for whatever reason, and um, which doesn't hurt the value because it's not like he marked all over the cover. Um, but some people just don't like the markings on the cover. They want a pristine copy. And but if you're going to buy a pristine copy, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg on some things, especially if it's a key title or things like that. Just like my Thanos, my first appearance of Thanos that I've got, which was in Iron Man, and um, I had Jim Starlin, the creator of Thanos, uh, autograph it, and he autographed it directly over the pin mark. So that was pretty cool of him. So, but yeah, no, it was fun, and so that just upped the value of that book because you got the creator of Thanos signing the book, and he signed a few others. Uh, Unfortunately, I paid a little too much for his signature, but it is what it is. Just like paying too much for this dumpster. But I would rather have paid more for his stuff than this stupid dumpster. But you roll with the punches and you move on with life, or so they say. It's just your billfold is $600 lighter, and so you know that's the heartache, that's the pain right there, and so. But again, you move on, and this is my rebuild year anyway. So this means I'm rebuilding all of my stuff. Rebuilt a website, rebuilt how I'm handling my prints from now on. Gonna pick and choose which conventions I want to go to in 2026 and go from there because there's some good ones out there and there's some not so good ones out there. Um, we tried, a couple of different new ones in 2024 and they were a big flop. We barely made enough to break even at the shows, and so when that happens, you look at those shows as a failure for you, and you find a different one, and that's what we're going to be doing. When we're going to be starting here pretty soon to look and see which ones we want to be in for next year, and go from there. Um, just because it's there's some good ones out there, there's some bad ones out there, and then there's some really really great ones out there, and there's some really really great ones that I would love to be in because I've got the horror merchandise to be in them. And but whenever you get the letter back that says, "Oh, we're already full booked up," that we'll put you on the waiting list, you know that it's not going to happen because there's X amount of other people on that waiting list, and who knows if they were, you know, already on that waiting list before you. And so it is what it is, and you just move on with life. You find the next one and go to it. And that's what we're going to be doing. But yeah, no, lots of things are changing. Especially in the way of print making goes. We're going to have canvas prints as well as just the 11 by 17 prints because that was the most popular size for everybody to pick and choose on was the 11 by 17 print. And then your canvas prints, I will be doing probably 12 by 16s and a little bit bigger, so that you have something substantial to hang on your wall instead of finding a frame for this print that you just got that's an 11 by 17 and go from there. So, but I might stick to an 11 by 17 print and a 12 by 16. Do a dual size in the prints for the canvas prints. not the paper prints. But we'll see. It's just going to dictate. The artwork is going to dictate. Like my Joker back here, which I was hoping he was a little bit closer, but he's not. He's a 12 by 16. So he could go 12 by 16 or a bigger print as well in the canvas style. And he would look really, really cool. And I'm trying to get a friend of mine to purchase that one. Because they already purchased one and then ended up giving it away to a family member. But he needs one for his wall now. And this Joker is really, really cool, which you guys up here on Facebook and YouTube get to see that one because it's right down in that bottom corner over there. Now, you guys don't get to see it unless you go to my website, and it's right next to my logo, right there. So go check it out. Don't leave here right this second, but but you can if you want to. It's all good. But I appreciate each and every one of you being here on a regular basis because I know several of you that are here pop in on a regular basis and are here for a little while. Some of you are only here for a brief moment, and that's okay. I totally get it. My show is not for everybody. This is an art show. We talk about movies. We talk about comic books. We talk about my artwork, my comic books. Um, and we talk about life in general. We talk about homestead stuff, gardens, those type things. Because this is real life. It's not just, well, we're going to talk about, my show is going to be about politics. My show is going to be about religion. My show is going to be about, those are the two things I don't talk about here. Because when you start talking religion and you start talking politics, people start losing their damn minds. And so those are the two things we don't talk about here. So you're in a safe space here. And so we talk comic books. We talk comic book movies. We talk movies. We talk Star Wars. We talk Marvel, DC. um, we talk about action figures. All the fun stuff in life. Uh, but I know there's a lot of people that don't like that type of thing. That collectibles are not their cup of tea. And that's what this show's about. This is a collectible show, basically. Because yes, I'm peddling my artwork to you guys. Yes, I get a few hits from you guys that purchase artwork. And pretty soon I'm going to be into the 3D modeling. I've had a 3D modeler over here for almost 3 years now, and I haven't even fired it up yet. So, you know, I want to get into that and put my own spin on some action figures of my own. And so I'm looking forward to that. But, you know, and I'm just looking forward to all this newness that's happening because all this new means new clientele, new friends. Because once you purchase something from me and you follow my pages, we become friends at that point. You're no longer just a client anymore. We become friends. And yes, there's friends that we hang out with in real life that have bought artwork many times over. Just like we hung out with Roy Joe Bradley, and I'm surprised he's not here right now. He must have fallen back asleep. And we hung out with him pretty much all day yesterday. He took us to lunch. We took him to dinner, but we ran around some places that he needed to go to because he doesn't get out of the house much, only because of limitations. And so we finally got together and and reconnected, if you will. The girlfriend and I and him went around and like I said, we did lunch at a Mexican restaurant, Taco Tuesday, and then from there we came back to the house because we had to take care of the goat sale. And then once the goat sale was over, we went and did some running around. And after that, we went to dinner and then came back, dropped him off, came back, did our animal chores, and then we had to take his handicap sticker back to him, you know. because it was left in the car. But it was a good day. It was a fun day of reconnecting because we hadn't seen him in a year almost, if you will, and that's too long. Uh, Especially if you do say they're your friends, try and see your friends more because tomorrow's not promised to us at all. So please see your friends, family, anybody that you haven't seen in a while. Give them a call. Say, hey, let's go hang out. Let's do a dinner. Let's go to the mall. Let's go to comic book store. Let's go to a collectible shop, vintage stock. You've got way too many movies. You need to pare down some of those movies and put in more comics and get rid of the pops. Pops action figures are just atrocious anymore. I used to buy some, and my girlfriend just told me the tornado sirens are going off in Fort Smith area. I'm not hearing them going off here, but let me check here. Let me take the headphones off. Yeah, yeah, no tornado sirens here. We're in that season though, the tornado season. We are in tornado central between Oklahoma and Arkansas, and I know other states too get tornadoes, but we seem to get them a lot worse than a lot of other states most of the time. And I've been through quite a few tornadoes, and anymore I just pull out a lawn chair and be like, "Hey, look at that rotation. Hey, that's cool. There goes a cow." No, just kidding. Um, but no, I have been through quite a few tornadoes in my lifetime, and they don't bother me. Uh, it's the eerie stillness before the tornado hits that bothers you. But no, it's all just be with your family, be with your friends. Like I said, tomorrow is never promised to any of us, so hit up those people that you haven't talked to in a bit, and rekindle some connection with them, and you know because who knows, they could not be here the next day, and unfortunately that happens way too often in our world, in our society. But we talk about, like I said, everything from real life to homestead to gardens to artwork to my artwork. Again, we talk about a little bit of everything, especially when it comes to uh, comic books, comic book movies, uh, graphic novels, which are still comic books for the most part. But and the restructure of my business, which is 412 Productions. It hasn't always been 412 Productions. It was Anderson Graphics Kingdom out there. And in January of 2025, this year, I killed my old company and created 412 Productions, which had been floating around for a very, very long time. 412 is not a Bible verse, it is a time on a clock. That's what time I used to wake up on a regular basis. I'd roll over, and before I had cell phones that had the time on it and all that good stuff, it was always a clock, an alarm clock, and I'd roll over, and boom, there was 412 in my face. And then once the cell phone did happen, I would pick it up, look at it, put it back down. Well, there was one night, and this is just the backstory real fast. And there was one night that picked up the phone, 412, put it back down, tried to go back to sleep, closed my eyes, and boom, like an epiphany. This giant, bright neon sign came across my vision, and it said productions, and I was like, what does that mean? And I'm just laying there trying to go back to sleep, and then 412 Productions. 412 Productions. That sounds pretty good. That's a catchy little title. And so it's been in my back burner of my brain for, probably 5, 6 years, something like that. And in the end of the 2024 season, I started working up logos for 412 Productions because I just felt like there was a negativity on my old business, and it was just weighing heavy on the business. And so that's why I killed the business. I got rid of 412 Productions and switched it to correction, got rid of Anderson Graphics Kingdom and changed it to 412 Productions. And and ever since I did that, it's been like boom, boom, boom. Commissions have been coming in, sales have been going out the door. Um, yeah, it gets slow. You know, I'm not going to say that I'm selling stuff on a regular daily basis, which I wish I was, but for the most part, you know, January was a great month. February was a great month. March turned into a decent month, and now we're in April. And you know, I've got a constant stream of work over here. Two pieces that are going to an awareness program that happens the 17th or the 19th of this month, and then from there, I've got the super secret squirrel project that I'm working on, which is the comic book cover, and then I've got a potential of two other pieces of artwork coming down the pike for commissions. And then I've got my voice acting that I've got to re-record um, my piece for, just because the script was wrong, and the script that he sent out to people had the old stuff on it, not the new stuff on it. And so, and I'm hoping that I work with this company some more to get some more voiceovers for some more of their characters in this Power Rangers series that they're doing, that they're working on. They've already got cool outfits. They've already got cool costumes. They've got the cool weaponry going on. And I play Champ in this series, and he's in the season one, episode one of this particular series, and I think it goes 8 or 10 episodes. Not saying my character goes that long or that far into the series, but you know, does that give you an epiphany of what happens to my character? But no, it's gonna be fun. I mean, everything's been fun here recently in the past. Um, just 4 months of this new year, and I'm glad that this year has slowed down. Um, because last year was kind of like a whirlwind of it's January, no, now it's December. You know, it's just like we didn't get all those months in between in there, and part of that was because it was always hustle and bustle and going to comic book conventions and shows and everything like that, which is awesome. I love that because you're around your people at that point. Um, you get to talk to people. You get to talk to kids. You get to talk to adults. You get to talk to, just everybody. And whenever the parents come up and say, "Hey, my kid, is an artist too," and they show you some of their work, and you do the whole ooh and all, which is with genuine, and then you teach their kids something that they might not have seen before, or something new that they had never thought of. That's the fun part, because whenever you're teaching your knowledge or giving your knowledge to a next generation, that's going to help them continue the artwork journey, then that's a plus in my book. And I've even had parents pay me for my time of showing their kid some new art techniques. So that's always a plus. And I don't do it for the money on whenever I'm teaching a child, something. I'm doing it because I want that knowledge to continue on and not just be a stagnant piece of knowledge in me. If I can share it to another generation, then that's awesome. Um, and that's why a lot of us artists can't stand the AI art that happens, because you're not an artist. I'm sorry. Number one, and because all you're doing is typing in some key prompts saying, I want this, I want this, I want this, and then you hit the enter button in your AI program, and boom, there's your piece of crap artwork. Okay. And yes, some of them look decent, okay, but the majority have extra fingers, have extra appendages, legs coming out of their buttholes and their crotch. I saw a spider woman, girl, I don't know what the hell it was, that um, she had an extra leg coming out of her crotch. She had an extra leg coming out of her asshole. Um, and it's just like, why? And someone likes this? It's just like, this is atrocious. And I put it up on my Facebook page. You can go find it. Um, and, it's just like, how can you even call that, real art? Um, Whenever it is so horribly fake. Um, but I mean, I get it. Some people love the AI artwork, but I'm happy that 90% of the comic book conventions are throwing out AI artists, 100%, and so that's a great thing for us artists that painstakingly get our pencils, our erasers, our paintbrushes out there and do all this with love and the sweat of our brow and create a piece on canvas or paper or wood or whatever, um, where it takes us 36, 48, 72 hours to create a piece, but your AI artist is sitting there tappity tap, tappity tap, tappity tap, and here's my art piece. It's 5 minutes long, and then they, sell it for an astronomical amount of money. Whereas us, the traditional artiste, um, we sell ours for a decent amount, but most of the time people are going to buy the print over the original artwork because, oh well, I didn't bring that much money with me. I love the piece, but it's, and then they go and turn around and buy a $300 sword from another vendor. You know that's what gets in our craw is the people going there for the swords and I get it. I mean, I totally understand because if I was into swords 100%, I mean, I've got several around the house. I've got the sword of omens from Thundercats. I've got a katana. I've got a William Wallace sword, a claymore, you know, a bastard sword. I've got all kinds of knives and everything like that around the house. But I don't go to a comic book convention specifically for a sword or things like that. I go for the statues or the action figures or the comics. But I'm there to sell my works as well. And, so whenever I get into 2026 with this stuff, I'm going to have this type of stuff sitting on the table. A big crowd draw should happen, with this type of stuff. Yes, this is a real saw blade right here, you know, as you can hear, a true saw blade right there. And my artwork goes on there. I wish I could get a printer that would print out the artwork on the saw blades. It would make it a lot easier. But therein lies the joys of each piece will never be the exact same as the other piece. I've already sold, or well, didn't sell. My girlfriend got one of these for Christmas or Valentine's Day. I can't remember exactly which day it was, but she got one of these Art the Clown pieces. And this is great for your keys, your cell phone, your money wallet, your wallet, whatever you want to put on here. It's a great little piece to put on your coffee table, to put on a shelf, with your action figures or whatever, wherever you've got your collectible type stuff. And excuse me, this is you know, a standalone piece. You're not going to find another one like this out there. Period. You're going to find one similar if you got hers. And just like Billy the puppet from Saw on the saw blade, the base says, "I want to play a game" on it with the puzzle pieces because of Jigsaw. But you put this in there, just like such. And again, it's a standalone piece. It will sit on your coffee table, it'll sit on your nightstand, whatever. Sounds like the wind's kicking up, which I understand why the tornado sirens were going off where she is. But if you want these pieces, let me know. Hit me up. These are great pieces to have, especially if you're a horror fan out there. I'm going to be doing some more different ones. I've got 7 other blades down here, I think, is how many I've got. I've got 2 that I've got to clean up 100% because they were stored out in the garage before I got this house, and they were some of the stuff that was left behind. But it's a piece of artwork to me, which can be cleaned up, sanded off, and um, sprayed down before I put the artwork on it. And yeah, yeah, I talked about Val Kilmer at the beginning of the show, and like I said, I thought it was an April Fool's joke, but then saw it today, and yes, Val Kilmer has passed away as of April 1st, 2025. And um, but yeah, those are the type of things that I'm going to be bringing into 2026 when I go to conventions, as well as the new um, canvas prints and things of that nature. So I'm looking forward to the shows that I will be going to because again, I'm going to be picking and choosing which ones I go to from now on, um, because you want your maximum return because you're already paying quite a bit for the booth rental of the convention space, which some are astronomical. If you want a corner booth, you're paying like $800 or $900 for a corner booth. Um, if you want an inline, you're looking at $600, $400 to $600 for a booth. If you want to go into not just the artist alley section, but you want to go into the vendor section, then you're talking, 400 to $500 right off the top. Again, if you want a corner booth, you're going over $1,000. You know, and so you've got to seriously pick and choose which shows you're going to go to and try to maximize. That's why I like the 3 day shows. The three day shows are the best because you're going to make your money back no matter what, for the hotel, for the food, for the gas, for the booth rental. All those 4 things you got to take into factor whenever you're going to a show. And that's why you want sponsors in your corner that can help you offset those costs, especially of a hotel room and your booth rental. Now, gas and food, you know, that's on you. But the hotel room, I mean, technically it's all on me. But if you can find a sponsor that will help you out, that's why I'm looking for those millionaire sponsors right now. That it would be just a tax write off to them and not a big deal. That will help take care of the hotel room and the booth rental. That would be amazing. Um, because that's the stuff that eats up your cost the biggest right there. And sorry, I got a knuckle out of place right now. Okay. And if you could find you a sponsor that would help you recoup those costs, um, then you're not out of pocket as much because just in the hotel room and a 2 night hotel room stay, unless it's a three day. Thank you, TikTok. I was wondering when the puzzle piece was going to show up. You're amazing, TikTok, with that puzzle piece. Whenever you're doing a 3 day show, you're staying 2 nights in a hotel. I mean, you could stay up to 3 nights so that you can get some rest before you travel back home. But um, so that's money out of your pocket. Now we can get a discount depending on the hotel room that we stay in, but because we've got connections like that. And but then it's your booth rental. Say it's you know $500 for the rental of your booth at the show. Well, now you've got to make $500 in sales. You've got to make your $200 in hotel room. So you're at $700 right there already. that you have to make from your booth to break even. That doesn't include your gas that you spent on the way up and the running around you did in town, while you're not at the show, and the food that you get while you're at the show or the dinner after the show. Um, and so, you're at 700 bucks already. Let's add in gas, which she's got a small car, which is nice, but we're going to be getting something different to travel to the shows in. And maybe even take out, get a mobile home and take out the hotel room. Just sleep in the parking lot of a hotel with the RV. Um, so if that was off the table, there's $200 that's back in our pockets, but you're still paying a lot more in gas in a mobile home or like a Winnebago or something. Um, Now we're at $700. Then let's add the gas, so you're looking at another $60 to $80 in gas. So you're at 7 8. Let's just call it 780. And then you're looking at food. Now, if you just get McDonald's or Burger King or Chick-fil-A or things like that, you're not spending a whole lot. You're spending, your 20, $30 for two people. But if you go to a nice restaurant, which we usually do at the shows, we try to hit a restaurant that we don't normally have here in, our area, and we'll go to one of those. And so now you're looking at maybe 50 to $60 for your meal, depending. And so now you're at close to 850 bucks that you have to make back at your booth in artwork sales just to break even for that trip. And a lot of people don't understand that. They just look at it like, oh well, you got placed here and you're just selling artwork. No, we're trying to make a living. And so, if you turn a profit of say 300 bucks, then you did good because that means you brought in 1100 bucks that weekend. Now there's been some shows where I have made like 1500 bucks on a 2-day weekend. And, you know, but I'm still recouping the cost of the booth, the hotel room, and food and gas. So even though I made 1500 bucks for the weekend, that doesn't mean I made 1500 bucks. That means I made 300 or 400 bucks. Um, and so, it's all the price of going to a convention. And hopefully your stuff is good enough, which I feel mine is, that people want to purchase it. Because you get people oohing and on your stuff all the time, and then they'll pick up a print here or a sticker here or those type things. And yeah, it helps in the long run, and I appreciate all the sales that happen, especially those that buy multiples at the same time, because I usually do a good deal on multiple purchases that at once. You know, you buy four, you get one free. You buy three, you get the fourth one free. Those type things. And so it helps all the way around because people do genuinely love what I produce, and which is always a plus. So, but I am looking forward to the new season, and hopefully, whenever it does roll around, I'll be closer in having my own comic book ready for those shows, to where I can promote my own stuff over all the other stuff that I do. Like the Marvel drawings that I do, the DC comics that I do, the real life stuff that I do with actors like Bruce Campbell. Excuse me, Polly Peretti, Tank Girl. Ash versus the Evil Dead. Those type things. Because whenever you go to a show, you look to see who's going to be there, and then you want to correspond some artwork to that person being there. Just like the Michael Rooker piece that I did with Yondu and a bunch of his other characters from other movies, and he raved over the looks of it and thought it was really awesome. And we chit chatted for a little bit before as he's signing our pieces, my piece, and I have it right down here in my portfolio. I got to get a frame for it, you know. So, but it's just things like that make going to these shows worthwhile. and you know, um, and it's just fun. It's just what I love to do. So, but I do appreciate each and every one of you being here with me, talking comics, talking, the passing away of Val Kilmer, real life stuff like a $600 trash bill, um, with this roll off dumpster that I've got to take care of. All those things like that. It's just we talk everything here. Real life. We talk comic books, my artwork, all of that goody good stuff. But I appreciate each and every one of you being here. Please go up here, like, share, and follow my other social medias out there, and 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 if you do that, I usually follow back. If I've seen you follow, and like Lane's the guy who's usually here as well as Roy Joe Bradley Jr., two of my top people here, who I haven't seen yet on here, but they could be here. I don't know, 100%. Usually they're talkative if they're here. And right now, it's if they were here, there'd be a lot of banter back and forth right now. So, but I appreciate each and every one of you. Like Lane's the guy is what I was trying to talk about. Is I've followed him back on the other social medias that he hit me up on. So you all have a great day, and as I like to say, as I leave you guys to it, we will catch you on the flip side. Have a good day, everybody.